Let's start in child's pose. Knees a bit apart, big toes together. Fold your torso in and reach your arms out in front of you. Allow your practice to start here. Fold into your breath, your presence on the yoga mat this morning. Slowly crawl your fingers a little further out in front of you, creating more stretch, more length. And then come up just enough to slip the right arm under the left and sit back again in this twisted child's pose. Shoulder, ear, side of the face close to the mat, and the hips drawn back, still towards your heels. And then release the first arm and go to the second side. Drop the left arm under the right. As you pull the hips back and down, left shoulder, side of the face, ear close to the mat. And release. Come up to all fours, hands under our shoulders, knees under our hips, and do cat and cow. Let the spine move back and forth. Really starting to create bigger movement in the body now. On the inhale breath, drop the belly down low, pull the chest forward, look up, eyes and tailbone to the sky. And then on the exhale, round your back, drop the head, press down through the hands, down through the knees, feel the lift. Make your way back to a neutral spine. And stretch into downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. And in down dog, pedal the feet a bit back and forth. And then find a more still downward facing dog. Feet perhaps a little wider, a little longer than typical, so that you can get in a full body stretch. Press particularly the thumb and the first finger down into the mat a lot to make the arms stretch fully straight and strong. Squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades together on your back. As you tone the belly, think thighs back, heels down. And then gradually walk your hands backwards to your feet. A ragdoll position. Let the head hang, the whole upper body release. Hold on to the elbows, sway a little side to side. This is our last Tuesday morning in November. I'll be picking pieces and parts of our yoga hour sequence 1. Move the shoulders up and back. But just giving us sort of this lengthened warm up here. Shoulders forward and down. And then stretch the arms up to the sky. And fold back down to the toes. Walk the hands forward to downward facing dog. And step your right foot in between the hands for low lunge. Take your time to move into your full stride. Add the revolved lunge, right hand up. Today, lower the right hand and lower the left knee. And then push the hips back for a hamstring stretch. Make the right leg a little stronger. And the hands can come to the floor or to the hips here. Whatever works best for your body at this warm-up time. And then come back into your lunge and step it all the way back to down dog. Same thing, second side, step the left foot forward. Couple of steps until you're in your full stride, feet about hip distance apart, and then left arm up, take the twist. Good, lower the left hand down and the back knee. And again, shift your hips back. Make the left leg straight to get into the hamstrings. Hands down if that works. Come higher and work strengthen, balance in the core and in the back leg if you need a little more height. And then take it all the way back to downward facing dog. Now look forward in between the hands and walk all the way up to the front. From the front of the yoga mat, inhale and swing the arms all the way up. Stand up, reach up. Take the palms together, center of the chest. Pause for a couple of breaths. Pause the outer form. Our overall month's mantra: my energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. It's really been a helpful reframe in coming back to how I can see the best in the situation. See through each pose, each stretch today with the fullest breath possible. Arms up to the sky now. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Extend from the hips out to the crown of the head. And step back to plank position. So from the top of our push-up, stay here for a moment. Squeeze your heels in, squeeze your glutes. Lengthen your tailbone, tone the belly. Look slightly forward of the hands. At any point that you feel the sort of strength of the body needs a little more support, set the knees down instead of being on the toes and keep holding there. And we'll hold plank here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Lie flat down onto the belly. Stretch your arms back behind you. Turn the palms to the sky and lift everything that you can. This belly down, back bend focuses on the length and the opening along the chest and belly. But you do that from strength. Keep squeezing in the glutes, the legs, and then lower it down. Press back to child's pose and change to downward facing dog. Step your right foot again up in between the hands. Lots of opportunities to make that step into the low lunge. And then come up to high lunge, hands to the waist, torso upright. Nice strong stretch now down the back, front of the thigh. Stretch the arms overhead. And then lower the hands to the inside of your foot and spin the back heel down. We'll do down dog lunge on this side. Walk the hands out towards the front corner of your yoga mat. The hands can also walk more to the side to make that a bit more accessible. Keep broadening the front knee out though. Sit a little more into the front thigh so you really feel the stretch from inner thigh to inner knee. And then bring the hands back in. Good old low lunge. Step back to plank. Option to hold plank from toes or knees. Add a push-up, down and up. And then lift the hips again to downward facing dog. And we get to do those 2 lunges on the second side. Step the left foot forward. Come upright. Keep the back leg straight if possible to get the good long stretch through the front of the right hip flexor. And then take the arms overhead for high lunge. Lower your hands to the inside of your foot. Spin the back heel down. Again, 2 flat feet. Down dog lunge. Walk your hands forward over towards the right corner. Keep moving your front knee away from that left shoulder. And then hands in around the front foot. Step back again to plank. Add in the push-up. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Exhale, breath out. Look forward to the hands and step or jump to the front end of the yoga mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky, and bring palms together, center of the chest. Just one more long round today. Lift the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Step back to plank. This is where we hold the plank a little bit longer. I have a tendency to want to look back and round a lot. Instead, look forward of the hands. Really lengthen the spine. A little more lower abdominal work as we do that. And then everybody down to your yoga mat. Superhero, reach the arms straight out in front of you. Lift everything high. Keep arms and legs wide, or more challenge, squeeze the heels and the hands together and keep reaching out. Lower it down, press back to child's pose. Change to downward facing dog. Step the right foot through to your low lunge. Come up to high lunge. Here we'll do 3 different lunges. So this is the first. And then hinge forward at the hip and bring your palms together. Add the twist, so twisted lunge a second. Set the left elbow on or to the outside of the right thigh. Try to keep the balance by lifting the left leg higher rather than letting it sink low. And then untwist, set the hands to the inside of the foot, spin the back heel down. much like we've already done. But now take the hands behind your back, interlace, and reach them up to the sky as you send your head down towards the mat. No handed lunge. The hips like to splay out to the long edge of your yoga mat here. See if you can square your hips so that they move back more towards the short back edge of the mat. Then release your hands. Step to plank pose. Do a push-up or hold plank. Downward facing dog. Step the left foot forward. 3 poses on the second side. So we start with a high lunge. Setting up your strength, setting up your balance there. And then we'll complicate things more. Hinge forward, palms together. Add the twist, right elbow towards the left side. Hook or stay lifted. Nicely done. Untwist. Hands go to the inside of your foot. Spin the back heel down. This could be a good landing space, or add the hands behind your back for no-handed lunge. As the arms lift higher, head goes lower. And try to push some weight into your back leg. That'll help keep the hips rotating back. And release the hands. One more plank. One more push-up. Downward facing dog. Look forward to the hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, arms to the sky. And palms together, center of the chest. Take in a couple of breaths. Notice how you feel. How are the poses working for you today, with you today? We're going to continue a little bit of a Vinyasa flow series for our standing poses as well. Lift the arms again back up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward and step your left foot back into low lunge. Spin the back heel down to the ground and move both hands to the inside of the foot. Pretty familiar there. Now left hand to the waist, and from the bottom up, we'll create triangle pose. So keeping right fingertips on the floor, make your right leg as straight as it goes, which might not be all the way straight, but fingertips engaged with the floor. And then with your left hand on the front of that left hip, try to open it, revolve it a little more towards the side. As you do that, turn your torso, your shoulders more towards the side, even look up towards the sky. Now stretch your left arm high. So from that big push into the ground with both feet and the bottom hand, stretch and expand as much as works. And then take both hands to the waist, get a little stronger in the abdomen, and bring the torso all the way upright. Nice. Warrior two, bend the right knee a lot. Extend the arms out in either direction, gaze out over the front fingertips, and change to your side angle pose, right elbow to the knee, left arm overhead. From here, top hand can go back down to the waist to give us some room to move. Heel toe the back foot in until you can hop up into half moon pose. Balance on the bottom hand, bottom leg. Lift the left leg, keep the hips open, and reach the left arm back up to the sky. Turn the gaze for more challenge. If you're thinking of this pose like we did in triangle, keep the right hand on the floor and only straighten the right leg as much as it can. And then everyone go back to low lunge here, how you got into this whole series. Step back to plank, flat down against your yoga mat. Lift the chest up for cobra. Press into your hands, press into your feet. Long lift through the chest. Change to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. And then second side, step the left foot forward into that low lunge. Bring both hands to the inside. Spin the back heel down, right hand to the waist. Be as high up on the fingertips as possible so you at least get those 2 extra inches. And then make the left leg as straight as it'll go. Knowing that it is okay to have a bend in the knee there. Start to lift the right hip more towards the sky and then stretch the right arm up. Change both hands to the hips. Strong torso to bring you upright in the torso. And then bend the front knee. Extend the arms out. Warrior 2. Keep the legs, but change the arms. Elbow to the knee, top arm overhead, extended side angle. And the top hand comes back to the waist as you transition to half moon. So it's just heel toe in through the back foot until you're close enough to place left hand on the ground. Shift your weight, lift the right leg up. Again, left fingertips need to stay on the floor, so then the left leg only goes as straight as that can happen. And right arm back up to the sky. More freedom in the back leg. It's lifted, it's not planted to the ground, but a lot of similarity to triangle pose here. Lower everything to your low lunge. Step back to plank. Flat against your mat. Cobra, press into the hands and feet, lift the chest. The shoulders like to get scrunched up into our ears. Use that scrunch to give you more length in the side of the body, and then move the shoulders back so you're clearing across the collarbone. Change to downward facing dog. Toes tuck, hips up and back. Look forward in between your hands, step or even jump. Front of the yoga mat, half lift, forward fold. Stand up, reach your arms to the sky. And palms together, center of the chest. 2 breaths. Always coming back to intention, always coming back to how we feel. And then release the hands, give the whole body a little bit of a shake to sort of clear here. I'm going to skip a little section in this sequence and go right into chair pose. From chair pose, it's warrior 3, so make sure you have enough room out in front of you. Lift the arms up to the sky, have your feet about hip distance apart here, and sit down into your thighs. So I like chair pose with the feet apart rather than all the way together, so that we just have a little bit more room in the pelvis to work. So you want to sit low, push back in the beginning, but then it is a little tilt of the tailbone down to give more lift of the chest up, and from there, the extension of the arms. Stay here in fierce pose, Utkatasana. And then it's little shifts. Take the torso to parallel, keep the arms straight out, all the weight into the right leg. Lift the left leg and kick it back behind you. Make a warrior three, make a T shape. Remember how much bend you had in the standing leg on a half moon pose. About the same here is usually a good judgment. Some bend behind the knee helps to keep the hips square. And then plant the left foot back down, full chair pose. Try to keep the arms going. I know it's hard. Change torso back towards parallel, all the weight to the left leg. Kick your right leg back and up. If you flex the lifted foot, point the toes down to the floor, that's a good indication that the hips are squared with you. Ooh, starting to sweat. Right foot back down to the mat, lift the torso, stay with it, and then stand all the way up. And let the arms go down by your side. Come to a wide stance on your mat, feet wide apart. Extend the arms out. And then look at your left leg, that's going to be our back foot, and turn the toes in about 45 degrees. And then pivot on the front heel, push the heel down, turn the toe out 90 degrees. Now the hips can go around as well, and arms straight up to the sky. Hinge forward like we just did in Warrior Three. Try to get the torso as parallel to the floor as possible. And then split the arms, left arm down to the floor, right arm up to the sky for your twisted or revolved triangle pose. If it makes sense with your balance, place the bottom hand on the pinky toe side of the foot. Keep extending from hips out to the crown of the head like you did in Warrior Three just before. And then untwist, come upright in the feet, in the torso, and change the feet. Point the right toes straight ahead, turn the left toes all the way out, and then keep rotating the back toes in so that the hips can go with you. Think left hip more back in space, right hip more forward, and arms up to the sky. Okay, so again, if this is your starting torso in a chair pose, then we want to change to Warrior Three torso. Bring it parallel to the floor. Drop the right hand down, lift the left arm up. And if the right hand can go to the pinky toe side of the foot, give it a go. And if we bring it all together here, if the fingertips are on the floor and you had a bend earlier in the front knee for triangle pose, you should probably have a little bend here as well. All the poses teach themselves and they teach the other poses. Come all the way back upright. Hands can go to our hips. Turn your feet parallel to each other now. Wide-legged forward fold. Reach the head down to the mat. Take the hands so they can support you. Right about in line with the feet. And then look towards the right foot and circle it into a low lunge. Both hands to the inside of your foot. Lower the back knee down. But push back knee down and a little bit forward so you find strength in the front of your thigh. Then go down to the forearms. Like anything else, you go as low as it works to the forearms at the lowest, to the hands at the higher end. We're not staying here long. Come right back up. Take your weight over to the left hand. Look over your right shoulder. Twisted monkey. Pull the back heel in. Try to grab hold of that back foot for an intense quad stretch. You can lift the hips to try to connect heel and butt together, and then take the entire unit a little down and forward. Release the quad stretch. Try plank pose in between sides. And then hike the left foot forward. Back knee down. That same sort of push the back knee down, pull forward so you have the strength through the legs, not just resting, and go down towards or to your forearms for humble warrior here. Just a couple of breaths. And then pop back up to the hands. Right hand out to the side so you have some room. Look over the left shoulder, add the quad stretch. Back heel to the hip. Hold on. And again, rather than keeping the heel far away from you, try to lift the hips to the heel. Make that connection and then take the whole thing down and forward. Nice work, yogis. Slow release of the back foot. Find plank pose. From toes or knees, lower down with control. Cobra, press through the hands and feet, lift the chest. And it's the same sense of confidence and lift that we're looking for as we change to bow pose. So lower the chest. Bend both knees. Take your hands to hold on to your feet or the air as you reach back towards the feet. And think cobra pose again. Lift through the chest. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze the heels together, closer together as we do in cobra. Use the legs to support the opening and the lift. And then lower everything back down. Push back to child's pose. Change right into downward facing dog. And then do side plank. Right hand, outer edge of the right foot. But take the right hand all the way over to the left edge of your yoga mat as you come into side plank, so we have some room behind us to work with. Keep looking down the whole time, and then step your top leg behind you. So right foot to one side of the mat, left foot to the other long edge of the mat. Now if we bend both knees, should give you some opportunity to rotate hips and shoulders to look more up towards the sky. Kind of this crab pose. And then make the crab longer. Extend, lift the hips, straighten the right leg, and suddenly we're in a wild thing pose. Go back to your crab pose and sit all the way down to the mat. Crawl over to all fours, stretch back to downward facing dog. Now I'm giving you that really safe option of just going down, butt to the floor after your wild thing pose. If you have a safe other transition out of the pose, you can take it. But from here, we'll walk the left hand over to the right side of the mat and stack our side plank all along that edge. Right arm up to the sky. Keep pressing the bottom hand down so you feel as though you're lifting up, out of the wrist, out of the shoulder. And then step your right foot behind you. And again, you could rotate right up to the sky here. I find that if I bend the knees, give myself just a breath or two, rotate in that bottom shoulder more safely, and then go to straighter legs, higher hips, it's a little more informed. So a more challenging way to get out of this, if you're not sitting your butt back down to the mat, which is fully acceptable, go back into your side plank, and then almost like a twisted child's pose, the right hand has to come down underneath you. And everyone move back to downward facing dog. Forward again to plank. We get to do bow pose one more time. Oh, hooray. Bend both knees. Reach back to the feet. And lift everything that you can up. Concentrate maybe on your legs more than the chest this time around. Bring in that aspect of doing one thing a little different to see how it works. Energy shifts, the reality of the pose can shift. Release it all down, press back to child's pose. Give yourself more of a rest stop there, a few breaths. Before we close out this practice, come to sit on your yoga mat. Stretch your legs out in front of you. 2 arm balancing positions. Hold on to your right foot like a baby cradle. You can loop to the elbows or hold on with the hands around your foot. Give yourself a little bit of a cradle. Rock it back and forth. Okay, humor me and yourself as far as you want to go here. Wear the leg. Place the hands down. As the hands press down, it's like a forward fold. Lean a little forward. And that can give you some trajectory to press the hands down, lift the hips up, maybe the extended heel as well. Cross at the ankles, squeeze the knees. And that right leg needs to hug the arm deeply as you fold it over, Asti Vakrasana 8-point pose. And then we find our way back butt to the mat. Stretch the legs out in front. Okay, it's quick today, not spending a ton of time. Stay with the place that works for you. Cradle the second leg. Keep cradling. Wear it like a backpack. Next step. Hinge forward. So this is that arm pressure pose leg. As it clamps down, the leg squeeze to give pressure to the arm. That's important. Other aspects of the pose, cross at the ankles, send the legs out. It's like a push-up in the upper body. Down and up. Sit and extend the legs. Reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Hold on to your feet with the legs as straight as they go. And then come back upright. We did this on Sunday to get into Bakasana, crane pose. I think it's a helpful look at the form, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. So you start in Baddha Konasana. Try to give you guys an angle here. And then round your back and reach your arms forward. Now squeeze your knees up around your outer shoulders. And as I've said, that gives you the good hint of how much this is a hip pose, hip opening, hip strength. And then we're going to flip this pose so that you come up on your feet, put the pressure and the weight on the hands. But it's a bent elbow pose, especially to get you into the pose. Upper arm bones wrap to the front of the shins. Trade your weight forward enough that your feet come up. Squeeze the heels towards the seat. Go for straighter arms as it works. And then all of that goes back down to regular Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Once more, reach forward. Two big strong poses right towards the end of practice. Pull your knees in. Let's lie down onto our back to kind of release that movement. As much as you can switch right into more of a release. Straighten the legs. Do a crunch in the upper body. Lift your shoulders, your head off the mat, and try to hold on to your ankles. And release your head and shoulders back down. Wherever you're holding onto the legs, try to pull them a little more forward towards your face until you get some stretch along the back side of the body, in the spine and in the legs. And right from there, shift to Shavasana. It's a pretty strong shift, so take some time to kind of unwind. A little bit of movement to release, release, release until you can find some stillness. You are always welcome to stay here longer. For those needing to close the class right about 7:30, take your time to come back to a good seat. Today, I just want to close softly and more inward, palms together, thumbs to the sternum, bow in, remembering the mantra that brought us through these classes this month. My energy creates my reality. And gratitude to yourself, each other in this practice. So much gratitude. Namaste.